Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. It's really exciting to be live on Facebook on a Monday. My name's Ellie. As you all know, I'm the author of the Big Sister Project and founder of the Make Way programs. I work with teens and young adults that are kind of navigating their what's next phase of life. There's so many influences out there that kind of, tell us what to do, and it's hard to really find our own voice sometimes. As you might well know as well, recently I've announced the Make Way retreat that's happening early 2021, which I'm super excited about because it's an opportunity for young people to kind of indulge themselves in really learning about who they are. So if you're interested to hear more about that, then feel free to send me a message afterwards. And this year, I really wanted to bring Natalie on today because this year, for all of us, it's been a bit of a whirlwind, to say the least. And I think, it's really important for us to find things that can help ground us and help keep us focused and motivated to actually keep doing the things we want to do. And for myself, with everything going on in my life, I was really trying to explore what I could bring to the table to kind of calm myself down, because my brain's always wired. I'm always doing things. And when I met Natalie at the beginning of the year, I was just so excited to kind of hear about what she does in various aspects, but particularly with the essential oils. So I'm just going to quickly introduce Natalie and then give the kind of floor to her so she can do a bit more of an intro. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you for being here, Natalie, because it's awesome to be in your presence again. Natalie is also known as the go-to girl. She's a speaker, author, and impact entrepreneur who specializes in helping people to up their brave, which I love, and raise their visibility and resilience in life and business. She's the founder and chief connector at Go-To Girl Limited, co-author of a parenting book, blog, and podcast, If Only They'd Told Me. She's a diamond level doTerra wellness advocate, which is very important for this conversation, and an impact entrepreneur across the country and the world, and is a mother of 3. Natalie, if you want to continue with a little bit more depth about your background and kind of how you came to be in the doTerra space, that would be really amazing.
Sure. Well, thank you, Ellie. Amazing to be here with you guys, and I know with your tribe, it's so amazing. So I actually started off when I came to New Zealand, and when I was 23. So I know a lot of people in your tribe are in the 20s. When I was 23, I came to New Zealand to discover my heritage. So my parents are from New Zealand. They moved to Canada and they had children. So that's why I sound like this. So I really came and I studied outdoor recreation. So my goal, as per always since high school, is to help people do and be more than they ever thought possible. I'm like you, I'm a doer, I'm an action taker, but I love to empower and inspire people just like you and motivate people. They don't need to do what I do. They just need to do what they genuinely want to do in their life and whatever it might be. So that's what I'm into. And at that point in time, it was using the outdoors as a medium for personal development. So I taught people how to rock climb and kayak and do sailing. I ended up working at Outward Bound, which is in the Marlborough Sounds, which is so gorgeous and amazing. So even though I came for 1 year, I met my future husband and I stayed. And now it's been 24 years that I've been here. Mm-hmm. So this, and doTerra became part of that journey. And when I finally found the oils many, many years later, and they really found me. One of my high-level clients, I help people with visibility and confidence and speaking and connections. And she was number 1 in New Zealand. It was like she had brought it over from America. She's American. And I was just bombarded. I was like bamboozled. I was like, how can I not have, honestly, I did outdoor recreation. I had a master's of environmental education, right? I love natural things. I love changing the world. My kids had eco nappies before they were cool, how could I not have known about essential oils? It just blew my mind. So when I did find them, I was just all in. I was like, show me more. How can I help my parenting audience, overwhelmed mothers, and my business audience, overworked entrepreneurs? How can I help these people? And I thought, oh my gosh, the oils are the key, because so many people aren't looking after their wellness. And now I use the phrase amplify your wellness, because I think if you look after your wellness, mindset, body, you can do the things you were born to do. You can do and be more than you ever thought possible.
Agreed. I love that. I love that journey. I love how it kind of connects with your outdoorsy stuff, because it's not something you would think of, but then you think of how the oils are made and it's all nature.
Yes.
So it kind of makes so much sense. What does wellness mean to you, Nat? What does it mean as a phrase?
Yeah, wellness. Yeah, good point, because it means different things to different people. Wellness for me is energy, meaning so many people say to me, like, oh, I just want better energy. I'm not sleeping well or whatever. But wellness is energy. Wellness is like the ability to do the things you want to do. And that might be focus, because some people are like, I just feel really hazy and dazed all the time, and also body wellness in terms of feeling good, like mobility. I'm sure there's other people, watching that have been through phases in their life when either they got sick. I know you've got a story. They got sick, or they got injured, like they broke their elbow or something. And when something's taken away from you, then you're like, oh, I never realized how often I need my elbow. So wellness, body wellness, and the ability to really do the things you want to do. And so I do think it is different for everybody. I have a high energy level. I've always have. But I definitely think taking care of yourself, and I'm not the expert, like I'm not the expert in like health and wellness and nutrition, but I certainly say, and this is the phrase we used in our parenting book, we're not the experts, we're the best friends you never knew you had. And I feel like I'm still that person. I'll tell it like it is. I'll help you get to where you want to go in terms of your wellness. And maybe that means connecting you with somebody else, but I just want to help you move towards where you want to be.
Yeah, I love that so much. And you've definitely helped me a lot too, not just with oils, but, just life in general and connections and business. And it's really exciting. I can see just how much they have come to kind of impact what you do and how you do it. How have you you touched on this before, but how have you kind of found that balance in your wellness habits and stuff? Because I know obviously you wouldn't rely solely on one thing to kind of keep you well, but how did you kind of go about exploring your oils and which ones worked for you?
Yeah. Well, I actually did a video last week where I was in the kitchen making a smoothie, and that doesn't sound very monumental, but I never do videos in the kitchen because I try as much as possible to never go in the kitchen because it's not my happy place. But what I was doing was I was trying to ramp up my own wellness. And so I feel like I'm on the journey just like everybody else. But what I found for me, for example, like this is one of the oils. This is peppermint. It's a pretty common, everybody knows what peppermint is. But what it is this oil it's so potent and pure that even just one drop in my water is equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea in terms of the impact on your like comfort of your tummy, fresh breath, feeling alert and focused. So that's what peppermint does. It like definitely wakes you up. So for me, it became going from being this overwhelmed mom who woke up and I was so tired and I was like, oh, you gotta make the lunches, like just this negative kind of vibe. And then as soon as I started taking time for me, and in order to take time for myself, I needed like a tool or a strategy. So it's like, okay, I'm going to put peppermint in my water, and then I'm going to drink that, or I'm going to go and put on the diffuser. So here's a little example, like put on the diffuser in the morning, fill it up with water to that red marker. Where's the camera? Somewhere there. Fill it with water, put the drops in, maybe peppermint because I want everyone to be awake, and orange because I want them to be happy and feeling uplifted, plug it in. And so I started with wellness in my morning rather than just going to my chores or my to-do list. It's a very different energy. It's like, you know what? First, I'm going to look after myself. I'm going to, breathe in the oils. Okay. I'm going to take some coconut oil. I'm going to rub it on the back of my neck. Okay. Now I'm going to go into the kitchen. I'm going to put on the diffuser. I'm going to get my water sorted. So now I'm hydrating. So whereas before I was like, I just would literally get to 10 o'clock and I'm like, I don't think I've had anything to drink all day.
Wow.
But now it's okay. So I'm hydrating, and because it tastes like yummy peppermint or yummy lemon, I'm more likely to drink more. So now my skin's better. My, we all need water, obviously, way more water than we're consuming. And by the way, Shelley Gawith, who is an amazing functional nutritionist, she said to me, you guys, you got to drink through a straw. So now I've added the straw to what I do. It's way better than chugging or gulping from a water bottle because the straw helps you to slowly hydrate instead of just going, oh my God, I need to drink 2 liters and quickly just pushing everything through. That's
a good tip, actually. I never really thought about that. It's kind of makes you feel like you're out and about somewhere as well, like in a cafe or somewhere a bit more chic. That's so cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. I was actually I think you've already kind of touched on this, but I was going to say about like a light bulb moment for you when you actually started using oils in your wellness routine. Was there a moment where you significantly noticed the difference, or like, was it a process of just like testing and seeing what worked? Or was it quite instant?
I love that question. There's some people, they have their kind of moment. They're like, oh my gosh, my kid had like tummy problems, and we grabbed the Digest-Zen oil and we rolled it on their tummy, and oh my gosh, like they have these moments, right, where they're so excited about it. And I was kind of like, I love the smell, I love the routine and the ritual, but like I didn't have my light bulb miracle moment until like later on. And I kind of have two. So one of them is emotional and one of them is physical. So it was probably 6 months down the road with doTerra. And remember, I started like most people do, just a customer, wanted to help my family, but I knew these are good for my moms and these are good for my entrepreneurs. So I also had kind of a bigger vision in mind, because for me, impact, that's my goal. Impact is my goal. Helping people do and be more than they ever thought possible. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. The oils are probably going to play a part. So, but 6 months down the road, instead of trying to help everybody else, suddenly I needed them for me. And the oils that I needed were the emotional ones that come, you know, a lot like in this roly form where they're already diluted with the coconut and you can just roll them on. And there's this pack called the Emotional Aromatherapy Kit. And I just was gravitating to the oil called Console. So console, you know, there's console and there's peace. And those two particularly, and a little bit of forgive, because a lot of us carry either anger or guilt, like feeling bad. And we need to just like let go and release that feeling of it's my fault. And what I'm really talking about, I'll grab my family photo. So Jonah was 7 years old, my middle child, and he was this, little blonde guy, very enthusiastic and everything. And then at the age of 7, his hair actually started falling out. And he left school in December, as they do here in New Zealand. And then he came back to school after the summer, totally bald. So it was very fast. And so this is him last year. There you go. You can kind of see. And so obviously, so now he's 12. In fact, he turns 12 in 2 days' time. And so at that time, I was a mess. I was a mother who I couldn't even talk to the teacher. Like I went in and she's so tall. And I remember saying, she was like, do you want to talk to the class and tell them? Because I wanted the class to know it's not contagious and he doesn't have cancer. And, but she's like, do you want to talk to them? And I was like, no, I could barely talk because my lip was quivering. I couldn't even barely talk to the teacher, let alone to the children, about how Jonah's hair had fallen out. And so for me, I was all of a sudden, instead of helping everybody else, I was like rolling in the oils, breathing in the oils, just going console, peace, forgive. And that really was the first time for me when it was like, okay, this is actually working, because it gives me a strategy, it gives me a tool, plus the impact of the actual oils in that blend can help with the emotions. Because the worst thing we can do as humans, as people, is shove it all down. And I know Kiwis love to do the old she'll be right, mate kind of thing, no worries. But if we shove it all down, it does present in physical problems later on. Yeah. And so I feel like we need to acknowledge and process our emotions before they process us.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the story you've just shared as well, it's like, and coming back to yourself, that's really important. Just making sure that you look after you first, and make sure that you can be the best version of you, so that you can actually guide Jonah through that, rather than be an absolute nightmare of a mum who doesn't know what she's doing, So that's such a cool story. And I love that. That's your light bulb moment, really. Yeah. I know that you just touched on as well with the roll-ons and the diffuser and the drinking. You mentioned 3 different ways of consuming or putting on the oils. Are there different benefits to having different usages in terms of how quickly they work? Or
well, basically, so one of them you mentioned is aromatic. So aromatic is you're going to breathe it in, but you're also, with the diffuser, absorbing it through your skin, which is the body's biggest organ. And so it goes into the air. And the great thing about a diffuser is you can take care of the whole house at the same time. So, for example, actually my son, today he's not feeling amazing. He's got a bit of a sniffly nose. So we kept him home because, So I'm putting like On Guard oil, which is the protective blend. It's got cinnamon and cloves in the diffuser, along with Easy Air, which has got peppermint, eucalyptus. So that's for the breathing. And the other one is just to make sure that he boosts his resilience. And so that goes into the diffuser, and now it puffs around the room. And of course, anyone else that's in the room can absorb that through their nose and through their skin as well. So that's the diffuser. That's aromatic. You also saw me do this, where I was kind of demonstrating how you can drop a drop of oil in your hand, rub your hands together, make a mask. That's also aromatic, because I'm breathing it in. And then if I add the coconut oil, now I'm going to use it topically. I'm going to put it on the back of my neck. That's usually where we put oils, or usually the soles of the bare feet, to get the oils into our system, because they get absorbed in through the skin and into our system. Or, for example, if I was using the one for muscle aches and pains, I would go to the source. Or if I had a sore tummy, I would use the correct oil, which is called Digest Zen, and I would go to the source. So I'd put on my tummy. So you asked me about 2 aha moments. And the second one was, I'm going to talk about periods real quick for people. So for the guys, you're all good. So I have never really had any period pain much at all, but I do vividly remember it was probably a year and a half ago when I was curled up in a ball in bed, and I was like, oh, so this is what everyone's been talking about. I was like, oh my God, it was in the nighttime. And I literally was like, oh, that's right. Okay. Clary calm. Okay. And I like crawled out of bed. I like pretty much just like moved my way to the lounge, got my oils, got the Clary calm. I don't have it here with me, but it looks like this. So it comes as a roller. It's already diluted with a coconut. I just rolled it right on my tummy, on my abdomen, crawled back into bed. And no joke, within like 7 minutes, I was like, went from being in a ball in so much pain. And I have a high pain threshold. Let's remember, I've done the Southern Traverse multi-sport race. I've given birth to 3 children naturally with no medication. Oh. I've had 3 back injuries, very severe, right? I know pain, like I know physical pain. So I was like curled in a ball. And then within 7 minutes, I was like lying flat, like straight on the bed, totally relaxed and going, oh my God, that was crazy. What a transition, and what a quick transition. So that would be my second story. And the first one was emotional about Jonah. But yeah, that just demonstrates to you that's topical use, and I'm going to the source of the problem. And wow, that was unbelievable.
So it can be as quick as 7 minutes then, like on a physical.
Oh yeah, and something like if it's a breathing thing with the Easy Air, which has peppermint and eucalyptus, like it's 30 seconds, it's 3 seconds. It's like straight away, you're like, whoa, okay, wow, that I'm breathing clearer. I'm breathing so much better. So some of it's really quite immediate. Whereas if it was more like, oh, I'm feeling a little scratchy in the throat, well, that can just over the next few hours and the next day or so, it can help you get back from the brink if you're going to really go downhill. So yeah, some of it's very immediate, and some of it just takes a little bit more time.
A bit longer. Cool. It's really good to know. I'll show while I'm here. Actually, I've got a few that you've brought into my life. I've got the cheer and the motivate, and the past tense, and the what's that one? Adaptive. This adaptive one is amazing. I love it. I used it so much in my old job. I was constantly, having to adapt to all kinds of things constantly throughout the day, as everyone does. But this was a face-to-face contact throughout the day, so it was really, really useful for me. And I shared those benefits with my team as well, and I could see some of them were like, "Oh, this is kind of cool."
I know. And when you wear the oils, everyone tells you how amazing you smell. So that's like
yeah. They're like, "Oh, hug me again. It smells delicious." You wonder why their head's going into the back of your neck.
The ones that you held up, so you held up cheer and motivate. That's interesting because those are the other 2 in that pack that I mentioned. Remember how I said I use the console and the forgive and the peace oil? Those 2 are also in that little the 6. It's a 6-pack actually. The other one is called Passion, and so that's a really good 6-pack. So yeah, you've got 2 of them. Yeah,
good stuff. I love it. Yeah, they're on my bench, and every morning when I wake up, that's kind of where I go in terms of my wake up in the morning, and it's really cool. I have another question for you, because I know that anyone can try them, right? But is there any kind of reason that they might not have the same impact on some people, or they might not work? Is there anything that can stop them from having benefits? I don't know if that's something.
Well, some people, and I forgot to mention the third way to use them is what we call a food additive, when I was adding the peppermint to the water, or cooking. So if you're making something in the kitchen, like I was doing my smoothie. But yeah, like a lot of people go sleep, that's my main thing, right? And then they might try lavender, which is a very obvious go-to. And lavender is fine, but I say to people, listen, if you're really not a great sleeper, it's not going to do the job. Like, it's just not, especially if your situation is a busy mind. Now we have something called Lavender Peace, which is lavender plus. So it's got lavender plus vetiver. Now vetiver slows down a busy mind. It's also got ylang ylang in it, and a few other oils as well, like marjoram and Roman chamomile and Hawaiian sandalwood. So anything with the word wood in it is very grounding. It helps you to be centered. Think of a tree with its roots going into the ground. So frankincense is also a wood, but cedar wood, Hawaiian sandalwood, etc. So this oil, like if some people are like, listen, I'm not a great sleeper, I'll be like, well, tell me more. Do you have trouble getting to sleep, or do you have trouble staying asleep? And some people are like, yeah, I really have trouble falling asleep. Oh, okay. Is that because your mind is so busy and excited? Or is it because you're so angry at your boss from work? Like, we literally peel back the onion, because if it's about anger, I'm going to give them forgive oil that I mentioned before. Because forgive is really good to forgive someone else or yourself. Whereas if they're like, no, it's not that I'm like mad at my boss or something. It's just that like, I'm so busy. I have so many awesome, amazing ideas. So they're already happy. They just can't sink into sleep because their mind is busy, which is usually my scenario and probably yours. I'm like, okay, you need something with vetiver in it, or probably actually vetiver itself, the oil. And you can get, so like, let's say this was vetiver, which it's not, but I would say, so we're going to use in the diffuser at night, and we're going to have the diffuser going all night long, because this goes for like 10 or 12 hours. So we're going to put in both of those for you. And so really it's kind of not just lavender is for sleep, because it's for a lot more than that, bumps and bruises and burns, by the way, but different people, different oils. Some people will be like, I don't love that smell. In fact, I hate it. I would never use it. Okay, let's either put it on the soles of your feet so you don't smell it right up by your neck, or let's try something else. Like petitgrain is a really amazing oil, which has the same effects as lavender, but smells nothing like lavender. Because I do have some people that are like, don't give me lavender.
Yeah, I'm a funny one with lavender. I like it, but if it's too intense, I'm not a huge fan. But yeah, no, it's cool that you have those blends as well. And I think the blending part is really important. It's not just have a bit of this or a bit of that. I think, you can go into various health shops and they just have just this or just that, but that blend is, way more impacts there. For young people that are kind of going through that stressy, what do I do with myself? I've got too many decisions to make. My parents are on at me type of vibe going on in their life. What kind of oils would you recommend? I mean, I've shown a couple that I use, and feel free to talk more about those, but is there any more that you can kind of think about that might be beneficial for young people?
Yeah, so one of the most popular oils that came out a couple years ago is called Copaiba. It's the brother sister to cannabis oil. It comes from Brazil. When it first came out, they sold more in 1 month than they thought they would sell in a whole entire year. So it had really hot demand. And the reason is it doesn't have the hazy effect. So it's like, it's not cannabis oil, but it's called Copaiba. And it helps you to just, I call it the chill out oil, like just, bring it down a notch, like just right? Some of the moms describe it as like having a wine, but without the haziness. So you're still focused, but you're not like on edge. So Copaiba has been really amazing for people in terms of a go-to tool. Because everyone in life, when we have a bit of stress or everyday stress or something bigger than usual, we'll have a default. Like we'll either like go to something to help us, either like some people exercise, some people food, some people talk on, talk it out with a friend. Other people might turn to other vices like alcohol or smoking or whatever. So oils, really is part of I call it your tool belt to help you with whatever life throws at you. You have something that can help you to either move towards, I think, where you want to feel. I always say to people, how do you want to feel? Like that's your goal. What's your goal? How do you want to feel? And they go, I just want to feel more centered, or I just want to feel more motivated. Like I don't even care, or I just want to feel not so anxious. Okay, great. And so once we know the goal, then we can pick and choose the oil to help as a tool to help move them towards that state of being. And really that's as simple as it is. So when I'm setting up the diffuser, I literally go, okay, well, how do I want to feel, or what's going on for the people in the room, and how do I want them to feel? So I have people that own salons, right? So my hairdresser, it's like, well, she wants people to be calm and relaxed and chilled out when they come into the salon. So she would use something like lavender piece in the salon and maybe a bit of On Guard to protect her if anyone's coming in with their nasty, germs or whatever. So I think it's really, how do you want to feel is such a great question. So to answer your question, adaptive, definitely. It comes as a soft gel. It also comes as a roll-on oil like you've got. And a drip oil like this. It comes like this. So you can.
Could you consume it in a drink? Yeah.
No. So what you can find is on the different oils, because people are like, how do I know which one I can cook with and which one I certainly can't, put in water? Well, it actually says on it, each oil will say, so this one is peppermint. It says for flavoring use, dilute 1 drop in food or liquid. So that means, oh, okay, I can put it in food or liquid. Whereas something else, let me grab something. I've got clary sage here, and it says for aromatic breathing and topical use only. So what you'll notice is if you look at adaptive, it'll say for aromatic and topical use only. And that's why they developed a soft gel, which is a slightly different ingredient, because if you do get something inside you, you asked me about the potency before, it does pack a punch, like more if you do have it, then it gets inside your body. So for some people, if the adaptive oils is really nice, Nat, and it smells amazing, which it totally does, but I'm still really anxious, I'm like, okay, we're going to need to upgrade to the adaptive soft gels, because that'll just help you really chill out. And the copaiba comes as an oil, but it also comes as a soft gel as well.
So many ways you can do things. It's exciting.
Yeah,
I have to agree that the adaptive. Yeah, no, the adaptive one, I agree, smells divine. I love it. I have to touch on this because I know that there will be some people watching that have got, like, after beyond what you've just kind of explored, will have no knowledge of oils or their benefits or anything like that. And what would you say to people that are slightly skeptical of how they work and how much impact they can have? Like, anyone that might have heard something that's possibly against them, like, what kind of things have you kind of told people that have said that to you?
Yeah, well, like every product, there's oils and there's oils, right? So there's, like, you can go to other random stores and you can get like essential oils that are pure, because they don't have a labeling standards, really. People can say 100% lavender and maybe it's not. It has chemicals or pesticides or additives, and it's more of like just a scent, not, it's just for like smelling nice, but it's not really, doesn't have the therapeutic benefits. So definitely I would say to people, just do your homework and make sure you go with a brand that is tried and true and trusted. And so, yeah, it's like, so definitely it's not like all essential oils are equal. So really just go with one that's really trusted. And doTerra, which by the way means gift of the earth in Latin, like doTerra, which means gift of the earth. And these are 100% pure. Like I said, no pesticides, no chemicals, no additives, and they get them tested by a third-party organization, and they test them 3 different ways, because you're right, you want to be safe. I mean, my kids always call me Safety Nat. You want to be safe. Something that you're putting on your skin and it's going into your system is going to be beneficial, and it's going to be healthy for you. And because that's our goal, we want to amplify your wellness. We don't want to like take you off track with your wellness.
Yeah, I love that. No, that's definitely a great tip.
But people can comment. I love questions, so I'll come back later if people want to comment and ask more questions about the oils or how they work, or you know what kind of thing is good for this and that. So I'm happy to help.
Yeah, and if I have anyone watching that's seen this in the recorded version, feel free to send me a message as well with any questions, and I can feed them on to Nat. Yeah, no, that's great, and I think that is, like you said, do your homework and really look into that if you're skeptical. It's the same with anything, really, I guess.
Exactly.
What kind of I mean, obviously every oil is priced differently, but in terms of like for young people, obviously it's not the cheapest of things to do as a consistent on a consistent basis, but they do last a long time, right? So it's something that you can have for a year, 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, so every single bottle has an expiry date on it. So it'll say like 2025 or 2023, or like it depends when you bought it. But they have about a 5-year shelf life. And so I've got a shelf behind my head, which has some of our, like, we have deodorant and skincare and stuff. But if you keep them out of the sun, so don't leave them in your car, don't put them on the windowsill, because that will just lower their potency and their effectiveness. So you want to keep them out of the sun and away from heat. So you don't want to have them like right beside where you cook, because they could just get heated up, or right beside the heater in your room. And then they'll last for ages. Now, in terms of expensiveness, I mean, I don't know. I think it really depends where you want to put your money. Like anyone, like I meet people and they'll go spend $200 on a pair of jeans, but then they'll be like, oh, really? Lemon is $16? Like, that's kind of pricey for lemon oil. It's like, yeah, but it comes from Italy and it's 100% pure. And you know, anyway, so, I think people really are starting more and more to think about where they spend their dollars in terms of their wellness, which is amazing to see. And they're really starting to be more proactive about wellness. So what we've seen in the past is people being reactive, like, oh, I've hurt my shoulder, and now I'm going to go and put something on it. But it's like, okay, well, let's maybe change the way that we're sitting, or maybe let's, drink more water to be more hydrated. So I love proactive wellness. I love proactive approach to life, and the question of how do I want to feel, and then using the tools. And doTerra, the oils are just one of your tools in your tool belt to making you really show up the way you want to show up, so you can get done what you want to do.
Yeah, I love it, having a toolbox. What else have you got in your toolbox now?
Oh, so many. So many things, so many oils. Yeah, so for me, definitely oils is part of what I do, but also I'm very big on mindset. So I don't, even way before coming to New Zealand, I'd never heard about having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, which is something they're learning about in school now, which is so promising for the future. But even mindset, like I'm so big on using empowered languaging. And if someone says, "Oh, Nat, okay, fine, I'll try," I'm like, why don't you change try to like aim? I'm going to aim to do that rather than I'll try to go for a run once a week. So I mentioned the multi-sport. I used to be a multi-sport athlete, kind of. I did a bunch of races, including the 5-day Southern Traverse. But back in university, I was a runner, and I was on the cross country team. I represented Canada in France, so wow. I used to really be into my running. But nowadays I don't, and I'm not into running at all. Really, but I still want to go for maybe once a week. I want to get my cardio up. Like I want to get a little bit sweaty, and that for me, just a little bit. Ramping up my wellness, it's having one smoothie instead. Like every day I'll have a coffee, no problem. Love it, right? I'll put cinnamon oil in my coffee, by the way, which is so nice. But it's like, okay, one of these days, like once a week, for some people that might sound not very impressive, but once a week, instead of having my coffee, I'm going to have a smoothie. Now for me, that's ramping up my wellness. And once a week, I'm going to go for a run. So I'm going to like get my cardio going instead of just walking the dog. So these are all parts of me adding to me showing up, better and healthier. And part of that, like I said, is the mindset, catching myself if I start naming, shaming, blaming, or complaining. It's like, okay, hang on a second. Taking ownership, changing my languaging, walking the talk.
I love that. I love the question that you ask about, how do I want to feel? Because that's a great place to start, because then that can lead in multiple directions. And there's so many possibilities of where that can go, because you might have planned out your entire day based on something you feel like you have to do. But if you change it to how do I want to feel about this, it will completely change the way you go about making those things happen.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then when things don't go to plan, it's like, how can you get yourself out of your funk? Well, oils can help you. One of the things you can do is like, you know what? I'm so cross about what went down just then at work. Like that is not what I was thinking. And you can like remove yourself from the situation, grab your oil out of your bag, roll it on your hand, and you're just like, breathe it in, and slowly, like the oils will actually help you to change. But and look at what it just happened. You removed yourself from the situation that was stressing you out. You had a tool, something to reach for, and then you used it. It actually, works. And now you're rubbing it on your neck, and you've already cooled down, given yourself some time to think. And then you can use other strategies now. Maybe like, okay, how do I want to feel, or how do I want to show up in this scenario, and then go back and deal with it. That's the tool belt.
Kind of like you said, it's one of those things that makes you physically stop and pause before you react. I love that. Awesome stuff, Nat. I think you've covered quite a lot of things here, and I think you said to me that you're actually for people that are interested to learn more about oils, or even start their own doTerra journey, or just simply dabble in a few oils that they've never tried before. You're actually offering a free 30-minute consult. Is that right?
Yeah. So, here's the thing with the oils. Yes, they smell amazing. Some of them you'll love, some of them you won't, like turmeric. Let me tell you, you will not like the smell of that. But you don't need to smell them to want to get them. You don't need to smell them to go, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready to get some emotional oils, or maybe some oils for my tummy or my head stuff that's been going on. So I'm happy to offer your tribe, if they want to get in touch and mention you, then I can offer them a free 30-minute Zoom consult, like this, or else we can do it on FaceTime. That's no problem. But also, if people do want to smell them, see and smell them in person, I do have various people that help me with the essential oils up and down the country. So more than happy to connect people with someone if they want to go and see them and smell them in real life as well. But they can just contact you, and then I can sort it out from there.
You're the networking goddess. So I think, you're more than happy to share that around with everybody. And I definitely have some friends already that are absolutely doTerra, like they're in love with it already. So I'm sure that they'll probably love to learn more. Cool. Is there anything else that you want to add, Nat? I mean, I know we've touched on heaps of things there, but if there's anything you feel like you haven't been able to say yet, or anything you want to finish on, where can we find you, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so people can find me at NatalieCutler-Welsh.com. I will give you the link. I'll spell it for you. /wellness. That's my wellness page on my website, but my wider website has a lot of other things going on, which for me is all around helping you to up your brave, which means courage and resilience. Say what you want, and make it happen. And that really those are the three things that I try to help people to do, is to just, whether you are, a student at, at uni, or you're just figuring out your next move in life or whatever, it's like, or you're a speaker or a business owner, it's like, what do you want? What is your goal? What is your intention? Okay, so now you need to up your brave, say what you want, actually get really crystal clear, and then take the steps to make it happen. So if people want to amplify their wellness, it's like, let's make that happen. Or if they want to amplify their business, it's like, let's make that happen. That's my happy place, is helping people to take empowered action.
Good stuff. And you're on Instagram as well, and Facebook? Yeah. You have all those pages?
Yeah. At doTerra on Instagram, yes.
Awesome stuff. Well, if that's everything, you wanted to share, it was so great to have this conversation, because I know that I've only really learned about oils this year, and they've definitely impacted my life. And I think it's really nice to be able to spread this message out to other young people and just see if they resonate with it. So if you do, guys, feel free to send me a message either on Facebook or through my website or email, whichever's easier, and I can put you in touch with Natalie really easily. So yeah, thank you for watching, everybody. As you know, you can find me at the Big Sister Project _ on both Facebook and Instagram, or www.the-bigsisterproject.com. And keep an eye out for all the upcoming events for both myself and Natalie, because there's always stuff happening that you could probably get involved with at some stage. Thank you so much for being here, Nat. And I no doubt we'll catch up soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Ellie. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.